What up? What up? What up? Yeah, it's your boy. We back in the building for another episode of Just My Damn Opinion. You know they like assholes. Everybody got one, and your boy do too. With that being said, man, we back in the building, man. We're gonna talk about the main thing we're gonna talk about tonight is we got a new Bulldawg. But before we get into that, I want to bring my partner in with me, man. He be with me on another show, Respect the Hedges. Everybody know him. Cool Cal, what's happening with you, man?
What up? What up? What up? What up? Just my damn opinion. Glad to see it back in motion. You know what I'm saying? Get this thing back rolling a little bit more often, man. So, shit, man. Just glad to be in here, man. Get my opinion. And shit, man. Let's get it cracking tonight.
Yeah, man. The season kind of getting rolling, man. I'm trying to get back in the groove of things, man. Try to get things going. Been kind of hammered with things, but with that being said, man, we ain't gonna hold the people too long, man. We want to talk about Jared Curtis, the new Bulldog who just signed with UGA, man. The number one quarterback in the 2026 class. And right now, we just kind of want to, talk about, what he brings to the program, what you think, he can do for the program, you know what I'm saying, positives and negatives, you know what I'm saying. But our first thoughts, what we want to do, Cal, just in my opinion, and I'll let you go first. I don't really want because I'm gonna ask you about his pros and things he can work on and cons like that. But the first thing I want to ask you is this right here. Just what are your thoughts on the kid? Just give me your thoughts, not necessarily his pros and cons, but just give me your thoughts on the kid and what type of asset he could be for the program. Okay, I think you got to put some quarters in that thing, man. You're out there in the country, man. You freezing up and locking up, man. You gotta, I don't know, man. You gotta raise the antenna up, bro. You ain't there, man. Well, while Cal getting his, I guess his self. Oh, there you go. You getting some quarters? Got some more quarters? Or you had to put some more quarters in the machine? You good? Well, while Cool Cal getting his
Shit, I
thing
hope
together.
so. It's working. We
Well, I
good?
hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you
I
talking.
miss
I
everything
don't.
that you said.
I said I don't see you, but I hear you talking. So what I'm getting at is, if you need to, you can turn your camera off. That might save some bandwidth. But my question to you would be is to without giving too many pros or cons of Jared Curtis, can you just give me your idea or your opinion on what he brings to the program and how he can benefit the program?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I definitely can hear you for sure. Oh, well, I could, but I just lost you. Hmm. Well, I don't know. Maybe we'll get Cal. You might have to go out and come back in, Cal. So we'll get Cal a little time to kind of get things together, man. Matter of fact, I might need to put it in the comments for him. Go out and come back in, or I remove him and let him come back in. How about that, Cal? You might need to go out and come back in because I hear you now. Your doorbell and everything. We hear your doorbell, your ring camera ringing. We can hear it all. Well, while Cal get his situation together, man, my kind of thoughts on Jared Curtis. What I want to say is, man, welcome to UGA. Uh, it's great. We're happy to have you. You know, we don't expect nothing but greatness from you, man. He's a former, wait, not former, but he's the number one prospect in the 2026 class. 6'3", 225 pounds, what they have him listed at. I had the chance to watch film on the kid, and you know what I'm saying. I really think he has some things that he can bring to the program and help. Chicken, what it do? I see you in the comment, my boy. Chicken, what it do? Chicken. We sitting here talking about our new signee, man, Jared Curtis, the number one quarterback in the 2026 class. What you think about that, Chicken? What you think about us getting that? As I was saying, I just think it's a great plus, man. If we're able to start on a consistent basis sign these types of quarterbacks, I really think the SEC is going to have problems. I really think that's going to take our program to another level. I really do. It's going to take our program to another level because if you think about it, appreciate it, chicken. Congratulations, congratulations. He said congratulations on the signee. Well, chicken, one thing I say about that is, it's great to sign them, but keeping them, developing them, that's a whole nother story. You know what I'm talking about? But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself right now. I'm just talking about the young kid and welcome them to the program. And I should have one or two guys pop in and we'll get a little bit more in depth into that. But yeah, man, I just think, it's a great addition to the program. One of the things I would have to say is, man, oh, we got my boy. We back in the building. You good?
We back, man. I put a few quarters in. We good?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you sound perfect. You good, man.
Perfect.
So I start my rambling and I
Mhm.
just start back over. My question to you would be, without giving too many, pros and cons on his attributes and things like that, just give me your overall thoughts on what Jared Curtis brings to our program. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on him?
Uh, well, the first thing is, man, I always like, it's competition. I always like to have competition at every position. So and I always think it's a big deal too when you get a high profile quarterback, one of the top one or two, three guys in the whole country. Um, I think that's something that can kind of awaken your offense because you want to see other guys that come play with them, see who follows, see what potential. I know we got some big time running backs in that class as well that we're looking at, and I think that it kind of breeds people wanting to come play with that guy and come win championships. But at the end of the day, just like everybody else, where you're the number one quarterback in the country, running back, defensive tackle, whatever you are, you got to come to Georgia and you got to compete. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, just last year, I know we talked a lot about Ellis Robinson. He was one of the top rated cornerbacks of all time. It doesn't mean anything. When you come to Georgia, you still got to compete.
Okay, and
So,
to your point, Cal, I would
yeah,
say this, just to your point, just to piggyback on that, he's right now the third highest rated ever quarterback we ever recruited and signed. He's
right.
behind Stafford being one and
Justin
uh
Fields.
Justin Fields being number two. To your point.
Right, right. So with all of that, like I said, all of those stars and all of that is great, but you're coming here. But again, like I said, I like the potential depth that it brings in the quarterback room, the competition. I also think the competition it starts now. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't start when he gets on campus because the guys, Puglisi, Montgomery, when he comes in, obviously we've got Gunner, obviously he's going to be the starter for next year, but those guys got to continuously get better too. And just
Mm-hmm.
because this guy's coming in doesn't mean that those guys lay down. I would like to see those guys step up their game and continue to get better too, and see who's the best guy.
Right.
So I love it for the program. It's what we do. We go out there, we try to get the most talented guys we can, and then we let them fight it out.
Okay. And I agree with you. I have no quarrels with that. And shout out to Big Bro checking in. I appreciate you. He said he got great arm talent. And that's
For
kind of what
sure.
I want to transition to. You appreciate you checking in, Big Bro. Chicken, what you mean by before I move on, Chicken, what you mean by people sleeping on Bama, not Oklahoma? What you mean by that, Chicken? Back to Jared Curtis, man. To your point, I agree with it with everything you said, and I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize is one of the points that you made. Signing this particular kid, he's gonna only boost your class because other kids want to play with that particular type of guy, that particular
Mhm,
kind of kid. You know what I'm saying? They want to
mhm,
get on that same train and keep it riding too. So a lot of people don't realize when you sign a big recruit like that, it really
mhm,
boosts your class, not just from a numbers of X and O's type of thing, but
mhm.
these kids nowadays they talk to each other. They tweeting, they
For
texting,
sure.
they Instagram, and they talking to each other all the time, all over the nation. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
We got we got my other partner in the building, man. Another one of my co-hosts from another show, Respect the Hedges. We got my partner, my big bro in the building. C.A. Corey Allen, what's happening?
Hey man, I had to try to jump in and get a little bit of this. It's been a while since I had to come in here and give out my damn opinion a little bit. So glad to be in here. We did definitely get a big commit. I was listening to you and Cal talk about what it brings to the team, the competition in the room, the temperature across the board, regardless of position. I don't dispute any of that. So definitely just want to join in and try to learn as much as I can about these kids. I don't really put a lot of stock into kids until they get a chance to actually put the red and black on and play between the
Mhm.
hedges. A lot of competition that happens before that, a lot of selection, a lot
Mhm.
of different processes going on. So I try to pay attention as much as possible, but I'm learning along the way, just like the rest of the fans. And, he does seem like a high caliber kid as far as talent. I think the biggest knock has been the type of or the level of competition he's played against. But
Yeah.
that's here. We can still learn from that. So, it's still a fresh opportunity. So I want to see what Georgia has specialized in, and then I'll turn it back over development. That's what I want
Mhm.
to see out.
Okay,
Mhm.
well, CA, you kind of, but I love having you guys on the show because again, that's a great transition. That's where I was going, and I just had one of my best homie up here. His particular comment. Shout out to C Rod, man. Uh,
Yes, sir.
y'all see the comment, but we talk
Yeah.
behind stage and we talk off air and things like that. So this is a great transition. Um, Corey just brought up the competition level. So right now, due to we all know about the competition level, we have our own thoughts. But before we get too deep into his competition level, right now, Cal, just give me some of the pros that you have on this kid. What do you see that this kid? What pops off camera to you for this kid?
First off, his size, the
Mm,
the arm talent. I've seen, just watch some different tape of him. He looks like a guy, man, can make all the throws. I've seen him throw at different angles. Um, he's got some mobility. He can run. I feel like, if we need a third and three, a third and four, things break down. I feel like he can go get it. And also because he's already like 6'4", about 220, 225. So he's already a big guy.
mm,
So once he fills out a little more, he's probably gonna be in that 235 type of range, maybe even 240. So all the physical traits that you want from a quarterback. I think that's the first thing you look at. I feel like we just got a big ball of talent, and then now it's about the development once he gets on campus. Because
okay.
to CA's point, and it's a big thing, he may not be ready for that first year. It may be around year two, just because, like he said, the level of competition, it's like he's out there playing with middle school kids for the competition that he plays with up in Nashville. So that's something that you're going to have to get up to speed with as far as like learning the speed of the game. Now you've got defensive ends coming at you faster. You've got bigger, stronger guys coming at you. So we got to see how he's able to develop and adapt to the speed of the game.
Okay. Same question to you. See, I agree with everything you said, Cal. And before you start, see, again, one thing I would say, just to that point, Cal, that was going to be my major comeback. It was going to be it's just basically to Corey's comment here is like we just got to see what he can do against other elite talent because from what I've
Mhm.
seen so far, I like what I see. But it's hard
Mhm.
to gauge when you're not going to your point. That same kind of thing. See, what's your same question to you? What are some pros that you see about this kid? Not necessarily, you know what I'm saying? We know he didn't play against the highest talent level, but what are some pros you think this kid have and brings to the program?
I mean, he looks the part. We do that does matter. You want to try to
Mhm.
find something you can shape and mold and develop into a finished product that's going to be championship caliber. So as a quarterback, he does have the physical tools from what it seems here in the early stages. Of course, development does have to happen, so I don't expect him to be a finished product, but I
Mm-hmm.
like what we're starting with. What I really think it says is I think it's a nod to the state of the program. To be able to go out and pull in the number one recruit in itself speaks to no, it ain't over with, everybody. We ain't going nowhere just yet. We're gonna still get in the faces of the best kids in the country and have an opportunity to bring him to Athens, to bring him into Athens. So I'm excited about that piece of it. I think it speaks to the offensive style and maybe the direction we might go in. Do I know? I
Mhm.
don't. But I think Jared Curtis and his family and his team does. So
Yes.
I'm also going to tip my cap to my quarterback, Mike Bobo. Do what you will with that. But he had to go in there and really sell the fact that this program is going to put this young man in a position to be an early draft pick. That's what these kids want when you're dealing with a top
Mhm.
5 per position type of conversation. So I'm looking at what this says about the state of the program. So I'm happy about that. I'm looking at what it says about the competition in the room. No, I don't want him to be forced to play early, but to learn from a guy like Gunner and then try to piggyback off that and take this program, continue to take it to new heights. Yeah, I'd love to see it. So I just think it speaks to, again, what's going on in Athens, where we are right now versus where we want to be. We're still pushing. We're still striving. No one's going to be given a spot. I think, if anything, he has to understand that there will be competition at his position. He won't be handed the job. It's up to him to go out and win it.
For sure.
Okay. So, and to that point, man, you made a lot of good points. Did you want to say something, Cal, before I moved on?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, man, those are all great points. And I also wanted to say too, man, speaking of CA was talking about the state of the program, something that I read too. I know this past Sunday night, it's the last hour, your last pitch, everything you could do. The kid was making his decision Monday. And I saw that Oregon, for whatever reasons, I don't know what it is, but I'm glad that Kirby Smart, they said, was there Sunday night with that last visit, that last talk. And I think Oregon, it was maybe either a quarterback's coach, maybe an OC that went and had that last talk with him. And I think that that's a strong point in itself, that our head guy makes him important enough to say, you know what, let me go up here, put this last ditch effort in, this last talk, this last whatever I can to him and his parents. And I think that that may have been the deciding factor in him making his decision. And so, like you said, man, I just appreciate the coach that we have and everything that he puts into Georgia, man. And I think that that's why we're able to win these battles like this.
Awesome. One thing I'm gonna say this right here. I'm gonna try to make a point that piggyback off CA what he said about the state of the program. So I was on another show, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but we've been running a pro style offense at the University of Georgia for quite some time now. Am I correct?
Mhm.
Okay.
Correct.
So I was on another show, and I mentioned, how, a lot of the game has been dumbed down due to signs and things like that, pictures and sign, kids not really learning fundamental football. That's why the Georgia program, that's why the Georgia program is so great, but I was talking about the deterioration of fundamental football. And the guy told me that the pro style offense is dead. Running routes 1 through 9, that's over with, and you can't win like that. That would get you beat. And I just thought that, hey, we just won 2 national championships and we've been running this for a long time. And that's why NFL scouts and things come to our program, because we prepare kids for the NFL because we do pro style things. So that just to the state of the program, and everybody's out there, that lets you know the type of quarterback that this kid is. Our offense ain't finna change. We finna continue this pro style offense and continue to be prolific. That's one of the reasons we brought this kid in. All right. So I just wanted to
I agree.
piggyback off that right there.
Sound like you were talking to a high school coach right there, Thad. I don't know who it was. I ain't gonna ask for no name, but I'm just saying that's what they saying on the grade level conversation. But
And, and
okay.
you know what? When I think about it, I think he is a high school coach.
Because you can trick, you can scheme, but you still got to teach football at some point. And on
Exactly.
Yep.
Sunday, you got to know some football. That's why they have the combine. That's why they have these individual conversations. That's why they send you to the chalkboard. If you go up there with swag surf as your play call, it ain't gonna actually translate to what we trying to do on Sunday. Do you know
NASCAR,
a
You
right?
cover
know what I'm
two? Do
saying? You
you
can't go up there.
understand
You
the
can't
pulling
go up there
guard?
and do the Shador now.
So that's why that's
Hey,
that's
yeah.
why that's why I talk to guys. That's why I talk to guys who know football. Cause when he said that, it wasn't even nothing I could. I was like, what?
Just leave that alone. You did
Like,
right.
okay, all right, okay.
Right.
So then there was another point I think Cal made, and I'm gonna post this question to you guys. I'm gonna throw some numbers out there. So I'm not sure if you guys are aware. So to Cal's point in development, so this kid signed an NIL deal worth about $2 million, right, for the first 2 years.
Mhm.
And it's loaded on the back end. I think he gets around maybe 600,000 to 800,000 the first year, and close to 1.2 or 4 the second year. So when I'm getting at to Cal's development standpoint, let me ask you guys this question right here. Now we just signed this kid and basically devoted $2 million to this kid, and I don't expect him to play even the first 2 years. So that means by come time his third year, and I think this was smart on his part, it's going to be time to renegotiate, because it's going to be a great chance that I could be the starter at that point if I didn't start the year before. So to your point, how do you feel about UGA being able to sign this type of quarterback for only $2 million when other programs probably offer this kid a lot more to get this type of quarterback?
So yeah, you got it.
Too. I got it. I got something for it. You know I got
Go
something
ahead.
for it.
Go ahead.
I think it's the Nico clause. I think, we don't want to have to re-recruit our freshmen. And right now, it's easy to lose a freshman if you got him sitting on the bench developing, and then he see the limelight somewhere else, and they offer you a decent check. He might be in a little bit of a spot. You might call that somewhat of a conundrum. Money on the table and a starting job at a school not the same, but on a comparable level. Yeah, I'm sure a young kid might consider that. I call it the Nico clause just because I don't think we want to have to put ourselves in that position to negotiate. I think he understands that when you go to Athens, look at the NFL draft. Kids that stay 3 years do get you're gonna have a chance to play on Sunday. You will have an opportunity to be drafted. That development is key. The question is, do you want to make all your money in college, or do you want this to be a career move? Because if you want this to be a career decision, come to Athens, baby, because all we're gonna do is make you better for the long run. So the short, fast money, we need to entertain that because it is about the market. So we can't get them for free. But the fact that we actually have a hard number and didn't commit, we didn't commit the same money Michigan committed to a freshman, feel pretty good about that, because come year 3, Thad, just like you mentioned, I'm sure we'll be in a position to negotiate a fair market deal if we want to keep him and if he's ready to stay. Because again, you got to always want to be a dog, and Kirby will always be recruiting. So hey, it is what it is. Just be great when you can.
Yeah, and to your point, we always trying to recruit. We always trying to bring in someone better than you. And to that same point, Cal, I want to ask you the same question, but at the same time, like, what do you think? What did that really say about our program? Like, it also says that Kirby, hey, if you notice what I said, the contract is back end loaded. Yeah. So we ain't just giving you all that money up front off the muscle, and we let you know you got to come in and earn that kind of stuff, man. So what you think that says about, again, same question too, what you think that says about the program and how we running things or doing things, Cal?
I think that Kirby is found a fine balance of being able to use the portal, NIL, but also making sure the kids understand when you come to Athens, you got to work your ass off. You're just not going to come down here, like we said, we're going to give you something because you were the number one whatever. We have a lot of number one whatevers at all positions, and some of them don't get a chance to play for their first year or two, and then they have to maybe transfer out. But like I said, I think it was smart dealing, like you said, because in 2 years, we either going to know, hey, this guy is a superstar and he's about to break out for us, or maybe he's just okay. And either which way, we're in a good position with it because, again, like you said, we always out there recruiting. So if he's not the guy, you know what we're going to come back and do in 27? We're going after that guy that's even better than he is. And I think that's like you said, we're just going to continue that cycle over and over again. But I think that one of the things we got to look at as well, Arch Manning, I think he's a great guy to look at as far as, look, he's gone to Texas. He didn't bail the first opportunity he got to say, you know what, I'm not playing now. Came back year 2, didn't play again, obviously. And now he's there, and he's the presumptive, potentially number 1 pick next year. And he hasn't even played more than 2 games of college football. So I think that's another thing we can look at as well. If he's continuously getting great coaching behind the scenes, it's only going to take the kid 1 year to come out play great and be able to get everything that he wanted as far as maybe potentially being the #1 draft pick and all of that.
That what's up, man. We got our other partner from our show that just popped in us on us. He on the road.
There we go.
Can you follow us, JB in the building? What's happening, man?
What's happening, fellas?
What's going on, V?
Yeah, man. I don't know if y'all can hear me. Can y'all hear me
Yeah, I can
okay?
hear you now. What's
Oh,
up,
we
What's
brother? How you
happening,
doing?
fellas?
Loud
Oh,
and
yeah.
clear.
Very loud and clear.
Man,
Turn that
man, your
shit
boy feel
down.
like I've been on high. Hell, I'm in the car. I can't tell what the volume
Do your thing.
Hey, you know, this is my damn opinion. This ain't respect the hedge. We rated R now. Well, we glad to have you
Okay,
in.
look, I was trying.
Talk
Hey,
your
listen,
shit.
I was trying to kind of keep it clean. Shit, I can't
Talk
goddamn
your
tell you what
shit.
what my ass sound like. Yeah,
Here we
shit.
go.
Oh,
That's
So
what I was
ping me
looking
back.
for.
have you been able to follow the show, JB? You want to be able to handle that same
Nah, man.
question?
Listen, I just tapped right in, but I came in on the back end of a Cal's question. But just for clarity's sake, go ahead and pose the question to me again.
Okay, so basically, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna try to make it very short and sweet. We were able to sign this guy on, I think I want to use Corey's. As a matter of fact, I think it's better than a fair market deal. We were able to sign this kid to, in my opinion, to a very good deal. $2 million over 2 years. And it's a great chance that it'll probably be renegotiated in the third year, because at that particular point in time, I think he'll actually be playing or maybe 1 year under his belt. So to be able to sign this kid for only $2 million, I think that speaks a lot to Kirby and the coaching staff and whatever program they got going on, how they doing it. What you think and how do you feel about being able to sign a kid like that for only $2 million?
Sound crazy, huh? I mean, we talking about college football players coming out of high school signing for only $2 million.
Right.
But what I will say is that we know kind of like that what the going price is now for proven quarterbacks in CFB. $2.5 million to $3 million for a quarterback that has actually that's coming in. I think, what did Juju get? Maybe like 2.5 also
So
when he went to Colorado.
And JB, I'm gonna say this right here, and I'm just gonna throw a caveat in there. I'm gonna let you answer all of this, but I just want to throw this in there. It's a very good chance that this kid is still making more than Gunner.
Absolutely.
But
Listen,
I'm just saying,
when you at work, what's the best way to get your
proven quarterback? And I was just like, this kid ain't really proven yet, not on this level.
Well, when I was saying proven quarterbacks, I'm talking about proven quarterbacks that jump into the portal and switch schools. I ain't talking about proven quarterbacks that's on a roster. It's almost like when you in corporate America, you get your biggest jump when you go to a new company. If you look for a jump inside your company, you're going to be dealing with 3.5%, right? And so,
Yeah, swipe that card, bro.
Yeah, bro. JB having some technical difficulties. I think you went through a rough patch, man. Put the antenna on top of your car.
yeah. Hey, man, I can't help it, man. I'm in the back streets of Chattahoochee Hills, baby.
You back?
But question that just before I go through interference again, I think it's a fair deal because that's the going rate right now for highly touted and highly ranked and highly rated high school quarterbacks going into college. I can't remember what Juju got, but I think it was right about $2.5 million, $3 million, something like that.
I'm not
He
sure.
might have got his over 1 year instead of 2 years.
I know the Michigan kid got like 8 or whatever. So
yeah, that's a
there's
big
a lot of money
But
out there.
that's a big difference.
But
You know what I'm saying?
all of those programs, they need saving. We don't need saving.
Okay.
No doubt. No doubt.
But I think that still just speaks big to what we were able to do. Like, I think you guys keep saying fair market. I just think it's better than a fair market deal. I think it had a lot also with to do with this kid wanting to be a Bulldawg. I think his family really liked what we were doing, especially in the terms of developing. And I think Bobo really was the key factor in this whole thing, right? I think he was able to really get in this family's ear and this kid in terms of development. And I think that's why money wasn't the overall driving factor on where this kid went. You know
I
what I'm
agree
saying?
with you, man.
So let me ask
I
you.
like that.
Let me ask you a question, host.
Yes, sir.
So development. Now we've seen a lot of development out of our linebacker core. We've seen a lot of development out of our D line, our D linemen, our tight end rooms. We haven't seen a ton of development out of our quarterback rooms. And so we go from my question is, why do you think really was it that his parents and him like Kirby that much over Oregon and Dan Lanning? Because I feel like they actually offer more development for the quarterback position than we do
No,
to make your name a household name and make you draftable.
No, they don't. Now when you talking about developing for the
They
NFL,
don't?
no, not Oregon. Not with the type of offense they run. They run a dink and dunk RPO type of offense.
More
We run it.
stats.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
That's why the stats. It's a scheme thing. It's not necessarily developing and projecting to the NFL. Like that particular kid, I don't think would excel in that offense because it takes a little bit more mobility for that RPO offense that they run. But to answer your question, I almost kind of answered it before you asked. I really think it was more about Bobo's pro style offense. Now we're not known for like just throwing quarterbacks in the NFL. Again, we haven't had quarterbacks rated this high. We get one like this once every 10 years, maybe. Like we had Fields and we had what's my guy Stafford that was rated this high, right? But I also don't think that we necessarily have always
And the guy transferred to Nebraska.
Huh?
Talking about JT Daniels.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's just like that's one thing about us. We get guys on a fit basis. So when it comes to the quarterback position, to answer your question, we get guys who fit. We don't really care about the stars. We don't really care how high they rated. Now that goes into we take that in accountability, but we get guys that fit our system. And they just so happen to be a 5-star, then we definitely gonna go after that guy. But we're not just going after the guy because he's a 5-star, because that particular guy may not fit our pro style system. He may be more of that type of guy that's used to learning from looking at pictures and not knowing how to go through progressions and things like that, and not knowing how to run a pro style offense. Does that make sense?
No, I feel you. I get it. I mean, we recruit body types also, right? We don't. I get like the way that we go about our business. I also don't think that Kirby subscribes to this whole. I know he don't. We don't go out in the portal and pay people. We don't pay recruits coming out of high school that are looking for the bags. We want people who want to come and play football and want to get developed. I get that, but I'm just saying, like, if you look at Oregon's, even their dink and dunk offense is almost kind of lending itself to be similar to what Ohio State had. If you are in that offense, you are going to put up numbers and you are going to be noticed. I mean, they have had 2 quarterbacks drafted back to back, one higher than the other, granted, but they have had 2 quarterbacks drafted. So
I think it's more about, and I think I know where you're going with. I don't think it's more about the draft. I think it's more about being prepared and developed actually to play, not just putting up numbers and bloating. You get what I'm saying? It's more. It's almost like it's almost like when you want to go get the best cut of meat, you're gonna go to a certain grocery store. You don't give a damn what the prices is at the other stores and how cheaper they might be and how big they is. It's just you trust in this program that when I go get somebody from this program that they ready to come play day one. And I think that's kind of the big story about this kid picking our program over Oregon. What I want to do is I want to go to CA. And I want to ask you guys this right here. I don't want to call them cons. I hope you guys have the chance to watch a little film on this guy and know what's going on with this kid. I don't want to call them cons, but what I want to say is, CA, to you first, what are some things that you have seen or you may know of this kid or heard about this kid that you know that he may have to work on coming into this program?
I don't know nothing about this kid. I just told you that. But what I will say is the reason why he chose to go to Georgia is because of what you just mentioned, the competition. Oregon has a system that does highlight the quarterback, just like Ohio State. Georgia doesn't have that system. We got a system of developing you by forcing you to compete against the best in the country. I think that was definitely on his mind because I agree, JV. If I'm a quarterback and I just want to shine, Oregon is where you go. But if I want to win and learn and be prepared, again, I call it a career move versus money right now. Yeah, you can get all that money at Oregon and start and throw for 3,500 to four grand every year. Or you can come to Athens, learn to develop, learn how to compete, and play 15 years in the NFL because of what you had a chance to experience going against some of the best coaches, defenses, and schemes, being on one of the offenses that had a chance to compete on a high level. So I think it's more about the projection. Thad, I don't know what his deficiencies are. Right now, all we can do is highlight what we've seen on the early stages as we've courted this young man. We've been trying to get him in the red and black, and we still kind of are. It hadn't been necessarily signed and sealed just yet. But what I will say is I see the upside, but he's going to have to learn how to move in the pocket. He's going to have to learn how to call that defense out so that my center knows exactly what he's thinking, and those receivers are on the same page. That's a laundry list of development that he'll be going through. Is he up to the task? I don't know, but all I can say is I like the physical tools he's going to start with. Is the mental toughness there? Man, we're going to find out that early as soon as we get him in some equipment.
Okay. And Cal, I'm gonna come to you with the same question, but before I do that, JB, the boys at you in the comments about that development quarterback NFL for Oregon shit you were talking about.
Man, listen, I see Coach over there talking.
Acting like Bo
Stand up,
Nix.
V.
I mean, I can't. Bo Nix wasn't developed at Auburn. I can't give Auburn that credit for developing Bo Nix. He became a lot better player after he went to Auburn.
He learned
Well,
something at Auburn.
Oregon.
maybe he can fit the
I mean,
system.
Yeah, he learned how to lose.
That's all I'm saying. He saw both.
Yeah, he got his ass kicked every week when he was at Auburn. He learned that.
That's true. That's why he went to Oregon and was like, okay, shit.
I got time to throw the ball out here.
Go ahead, Jay.
I'm
Damn,
Court
B,
ain't
you
showing
like
up.
you gonna say
Go,
that.
Mine ain't right.
go ahead, Cal. It was on you.
if you want to
Anyway.
talk about developing, Bo Nix did go out there like Cal brought up from Auburn, but
We did, yeah.
Gabriel came in for 1 year and did what he did. So there has to be a quarterback system that allows you to be able to latch on to it quickly
Sure.
and understand where to go with the ball, especially if you're familiar with that kind of system.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm saying. Like, hey, look, he might have been there, he might have been a transfer, but he was only there for a year and still did his thing.
For sure.
Gabriel threw for a lot of yards to go that late.
Well, let me tell you this. Now, Gabriel threw for a lot of yards everywhere he went.
That's
I
true.
understand. That's true.
That's true. That
It looked good,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
But
right.
he's
See,
gonna make a
he's
career out of this.
right. Well,
It's
he third round. Him and Sugar gonna have to fight it out. You know what I mean?
gonna be a
But
battle, ain't it?
absolutely.
one thing I
Absolutely.
like about Gabriel is one thing about it that I like about Gabriel, why I think he fits that RPO system that they run up there so well is he doesn't have great arm strength, so he almost know he have to get rid of the ball fast, and that really
Good timing.
right. That really fits the RPO offense, especially when you're throwing the ball more horizontally than vertically. So that's why I
Sure.
think that fit his offense. But Cal, to you, Cal, same question, man. Like, what are some things if you had a chance to watch the kid or you seen in the film on? What are some things that you think the kid just needs to probably work on to get better at the next level coming to the program?
Well, first off, and it's the most obvious thing, but it stands out the most. It's just the speed because the level of competition that he's playing against, you just can't judge anything based off that. To me, this is a guy that we're looking at a guy that has all the tools. You know, he's got every tool in the bag, and we're getting him and seeing what we can develop him into. You know, a lot of times we can go back and we can look at some other kids. If we got kids coming out of, 4A, 5A, 6A Georgia football, that kid's played a whole hell of a lot of talent. And you can judge things that way by how he plays against other competition. But that's the biggest thing. How's it going to look when he has those live bullets, when he's got that 250-pound guy that's running at him that's faster than him? You know, how is he going to be able to adapt to the speed of the game is going to be the biggest thing for me. Also, I don't know, you know, how is he going to be able to adjust to the playbook as well? You know, that's another thing that's going to be a big factor. So I'm not looking at, you know, this kid is going to come in his first year on campus. I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not looking for the kid to come in to play. I'm
Right.
looking for this kid to come in. Hopefully he gets into school, he signs, gets into school early, gets that off season. I don't think he starts his first season, comes back that next off season. I think he looks back at his sophomore season where he can potentially do some damage. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, to your point, Cal, I think you're right. I mean, I think this is a 2 year plan, and we look at it again after 2 years. Once I had a chance to watch film on the kid, and from what I saw, I liked a lot of what I saw. But to everyone's point, I think we all in agreement right here. The talent level was not great because hell, when you look at the film, he was big. He would look bigger than some of the line.
For
He was
sure.
he was bigger than everybody
Damn.
on the field. You know what I'm saying? So but some things that I did like was I did see his head on the swivel. I can tell he was going through progressions. But the thing that I think that he's gonna have to work on, playing at that level, is he got to get rid of the ball faster. He holds the ball a little too long. For me, I would like to see him get rid of the ball much faster. But sometimes playing at that talent level, knowing you're a little bit better than everybody, you can move around fast and things like that. You maybe develop some bad habits. But the kid
Hey,
throws the ball from some angles that I love to see.
hey,
Like,
Thad, I got a question for you.
go ahead.
Because you probably watch more footage or film than most of us on the kid. Do you see him being, you know, it may be at the high school level and going into college? Do you see him being more of a vocal leader, or is he the quiet confidence type? I mean, I like the vocal guy that believes in himself. You know, how does he lead from what you've seen when he had a chance to play in high school?
So well, damn, that's a good question. See, that's probably one of the
Great
least.
question.
Yeah, that's a great question. That's probably one of the least things that I probably look for on film. I was looking more for things that kind of jumped off the camera in terms of arm angles, arm strength. The helmet moving from left to right, making progressions. But to your point, from what I saw in the way the team gravitates with him and around him, I don't think this is a Carson Beck type of situation. I think this kid would
Put a
be.
name on it then.
Yeah, shit. This is just my damn opinion. Um, shit. So, but to your point, and I think that I don't know, but I think that's where you was going with that. But to the question, I do think he's more vocal and he's more that alpha male type of quarterback, like premier stud that we looking for.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear it. I mean, as a wide receiver, you and I know we stood in the huddle together with JV. I like my quarterback to believe in himself, baby. I mean, with the utmost confidence, and understand that also that confidence will translate and be transferred to the entirety of the offense. Like that leadership is going to be important. How he leads is going to be important, and him taking control of the team at whatever point is necessary. We'll get a chance to see it.
Hmm. I'm trying to see what the guy talking about. Oh, he talking about. He say Curtis got a big ass head. I guess he talking about to the Mannings. And,
That's a good sign, ain't it?
and he talking about you might be on to something. You know what I mean? So ain't nobody thought about that. But to your question, see, if Chal or JB want to chime in next, Coach said vocal, he's the best on the field and he knows it. But again, to that competition,
Okay.
on that competition level, it kind of shows. But again, it's like to everybody's point. I think see they were saying, in my opinion, it's like everybody got a plan until they get hit in the mouth. So what happened when the competition level? Does he keep that same spirit and energy? Anybody else want to chime in on that question?
Yeah, I was
I don't
just
know,
gonna
Sean.
say, go ahead.
Go ahead, Cal.
No,
I'll pull up the real.
I was just gonna say that I didn't really have a good feel for that either, as far as like the leadership qualities, things of that nature. Um, but it seems like some things that I have read, it seems like, like we were talking about, like different kids, they stay in contact with each other. So it seems like he's gonna be one of those foundational recruits to where again, we're going to go out and try to, obviously he's going to be a main catalyst in us getting other big fish. Maybe us making that turn to not getting, we have like good receivers that we come in. Maybe we get that Jeremiah Smith type guy to come to Georgia. Maybe we get that Ryan Williams guy type to come to Georgia, with this type of quarterback. So that's what I'm looking at to see how the rest of this offensive class fills out around him. So I think that's going to be a big key.
Go ahead, B.
I was just thinking that, in 2 years, this kid might be a prime candidate for the question that you normally ask on respect to Hedges of all the guests that we have on there, right? Like, who made you get your shit together when you got to UGA? Because again, the competition is different. It really doesn't matter a ton if you played at a school that had high competitive games week in and week out. You might have played against better competition, but when you get to Georgia, your best competition really is who you line up against every single day. And that's either going to raise your play or it's not. And so, a kid coming, I'm always kind of skeptical about kids coming out of private schools with these high rankings. We've seen it before. Where it just doesn't pan out because the level of competition isn't even.
Let me put the name on. I know y'all ain't got to. What's the name?
Brock Vandegrift.
Vandegrift.
Not the same guy at all.
Right.
It's not the same guy.
Might not be, but we're just talking about just the scenarios, right? Like if we just looking at the descriptions, not necessarily the heart, not necessarily the back, and not necessarily the parents, not necessarily the training. We looking at the descriptions. Those, you have a private school quarterback, they are normal. If they throw for a lot of yards and they are athletic, hell, look at Arch. When we looked at Arch, the competition I seen him playing against, I was like, that looked bad. I don't know what he gonna be when he gets.
It look even worse than Arch, in my opinion, to be honest.
You know what I'm saying? So that's you gotta have some confidence.
Never know what you're gonna get.
Right.
Yeah. There you go. You might get that nasty one with the pink in the middle.
But to your point, maybe Arch, from what we've seen, in my opinion, the short footage I've seen, like he seems to translate.
But that's what I'm saying. Like,
he got dog in him. So we got to find out if Curtis got it in. Either you do or you don't. Like, you can play on a private school level. I'm never mad at that. But I need to know who you really are when the bullets start flying, and if you fold up, you got to go. But if you stand up in it in the private school, that ain't what made you play, boy. You actually got it in you for real. You were just over there because you had a nice house and mom and daddy did right by you, academic.
And you did what you were supposed to do.
Hey, you got in there, but if you can perform, which is what we'll find out early. That's the thing about coming to Athens. You're gonna go against this iron, gonna sharpen that iron. Otherwise, you're gonna get cut, playboy. So I'm excited about it, because
you don't have to stay for 2 years about it.
It might not even be cut. And I love you guys again. I'm glad you guys were able to come on the show because I can bounce off you guys so well, because that leads me into my next question, that something that CA just said, and I'm coming to Cal first. This will be my last question, guy, because whether y'all know it or not, we almost done been on here an hour. I thought it was going to be a 30-minute show. But with that being said, Cal, the last question, I'm going to let you go first, and then I'll come to JV, then I'll let CA bring up the rear. Cal, I've been saying this. We're talking about $2 million over the first 2 years and possibly renegotiating in the third year. But CA just used the term iron sharpens iron. We all know that. And you might get cut.
Yeah.
So what I'm getting at is my ultimate question to the panel, the rest of the panel, is this right here. It's great to sign this kid, the #1 quarterback in the 2026 recruiting class. But how in the fuck do we keep this kid? You know what I'm saying? If he don't get to play his second or third year, it's a very good chance that he leaves.
Right.
Which may be a great thing, because if that's the case, that means our depth chart and our starter looks good. So my question to the panel, to you, Cal, it's great to get this kid. What do we do and how do we keep this kid?
Okay, so real quick, let me run through this real quick. So from the beginning of it, just the one thing that it does, whether he is a great
Hey,
player,
let me cut you out one
yeah,
second.
go ahead.
Rob, if you was on that kind of energy, you should have brought your ass on the show. Don't be putting all these kind of comments and shit in
Right, he just stealing all my
yeah.
arch thunder.
Yeah,
and shit.
you should
Like,
have
but
brought your
that's
ass on the
cool.
show.
That's cool.
Go
That's
ahead,
cool.
Cal.
But
Let it rock, E.
So what I was gonna say, whether Curtis is a great player or not, and I'm gonna go back to Justin Fields as well. Whether they were great players or not at UGA, what they did is they can still give a boost to this recruiting class.
Mhm.
So we may get a kid or two or three. Maybe we don't get by not having this kid on campus. So maybe we get an extra great skill position guy. Maybe we get a great lineman or two that we may not have gotten had this kid may not have come to Georgia. So I think that it's a great signing in that aspect. But just like Rob just said, I think we got to look at Arch Manning. I think Arch Manning is the prototype for a guy that is stuck with the program in his third year now, is going to take over a major program, and in his first year starting, have opportunity to play for a national championship. And so I'm kind of looking at this as that same type of development where I'm not looking at him until year 2 or 3. I don't think that it's a reasonable expectation unless Gunner for some reason is gone. He's, he has a great year. He goes to the NFL. I don't see him coming in year 1 being the starter. I look at him as that down his sophomore year, maybe even his junior year, where he takes over the reins. But from the beginning of it, I think it's just an A+ because of the potential of guys that we can bring into the addition with him.
Okay, I like that. And Cal, before I go to JB, you got your night sensor light need to come on or some shit, boy. You getting a little dark out there for you.
Yeah,
Cal over there, that Liberty Bibberty.
Yeah, man.
It's on you, B.
Listen, man. What I'll say is, at this point, if you haven't seen the way that Kirby goes about his business, and you make a half-hearted decision on where you're gonna go to school, and you pick UGA, and you end up not playing your first year, your second year, you end up transferring, or you get mad because you ain't playing, then somebody in your camp, being a young man, didn't do their due diligence and didn't do you any kind of justice, right?
Oh, great point, boy.
We know that we got a proof of concept here. We just had a quarterback that was at school for 3 years, who started 1 year, and realistically could have came back and played another one, but he stuck around for 3 years. We also saw with Justin Fields. We also saw with JT Daniels. We also saw with some other guys how if you are not if you have somebody who produces, you might not be able to get your positions back. It might be best for you to hit the road. Kirby is a fair coach, man. He is loyal.
Jason Richard didn't say that. You saw the comment he put out today? He left Georgia because he wanted to go to a coach who had it back.
That's good. He wanted to go his ass in Sacramento.
This is third coach. This is the third coach that ain't had his back though. I mean, you look at the key.
Who said that
at this point? Rashada.
And he had Sacramento State. I didn't even know they had a football program.
Hey, let's not digress to lesser topics.
You're right. You did. We all.
Let's not digress to a lesser topic.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, but for real, if he came to UGA and his impression was that I'm hoping his impression is that he's gonna come in and take the starting role and be a starter, but he doesn't play, his camp didn't do him any justice in leading this young man and guiding this young man to Georgia, because that's not how we do business here. So he's here. He decommitted, opened up his recruitment before. He could have gone anywhere else that had recruited him at this point in time, but he decided to come on back into the fold for a team that's set up to be a championship team for the foreseeable future. I think that's where his head is, just because of the way that 16 does his job, and it's been consistent.
Okay. Before I go to CA, I was gonna say shout out to Kim Hurst too, man. He's a appreciate you checking in tonight, man. I think he's a fan of a different channel, but he's checking in, and I appreciate you checking in. What do you mean by if Vandy comes in and offers 3 times much next year? What happens? Just elaborate on that a little bit more, so the panel and I can answer that a little bit
I
better.
got something for that.
And who are you talking? Is he talking about
I think
Curtis?
he's talking about if somebody come in and
Curtis
offer
in year
Curtis the
3.
bag,
Vandy?
do we up our bag? I guess is what
Vandy?
he's saying.
For Vandy?
I
Vandy's
would.
probably a terrible example, but I think
Yeah,
I
that's
get
what
what he's saying.
Okay.
I think I get what he's saying.
So see it.
That
So
could
do
be
we
any
want to?
school.
So do we want to address this before you close?
It ain't gonna take long. I mean, that's a
Go
loser's
ahead.
mentality, baby. You want to go to Vanderbilt
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
after
That don't
leaving
make
Athens? That's gonna have that'll kill your draft stock. That means you didn't choose this as a career. You decided to do something. You going into business. That's why you went to Vanderbilt. Let me ask you a question, Thad.
like
You
we
said,
ain't
how
talking
do
about
we keep the
academics.
kid?
I'm sorry, we
You
ain't
don't
talking
play no
about
football.
academics. Don't even
That
put us.
that don't say. Yeah.
Don't put us in the same sin. Go ahead. See my bad.
Shout out to Vanderbilt, man. Get them. They got that. All right. So how do we keep this kid? Money. Boom. It's already in the bag. How can we lose him? That scenario that was just mentioned, money. But if we lose you behind the money, then okay, you got to want to be here. That's what I like about what Arch has going on. Arch Manning wants to be a Longhorn. I respect that. We recruited him hard and heavy at every turn, every corner. If he even acted like he was ready to make a move out of Austin, I was over there looking. I'm like, hey man, let's check it out. Let's see if he step foot in the portal, snatch him up. Never happened. Wants to be a Longhorn. You got to want to be a dog, man, because guess what? It ain't going to be any easier year 3 than it is going to be year 1. Ryan Puglisi ain't going to give him shit. That's not how this thing works. So he got to come in there and earn it. And his saving grace is you ain't here for free. We paying you. You getting 600. You're going to end up getting 1.2. That's going to double up next year. Why not learn and develop and watch how the guys around you and in front of you go to the league? Because don't lie, that's the conversation. That you're the number 1 recruit in your class at the number 1 position in the game. Yeah, you are looking down the road. Development has to be key for you. A lot of college quarterbacks nowadays, you look at the number 1 pick, he played 5-6 years in school. So we may not be able to keep him. But I want to get him while I got him, and I want to use him while he hot. And if he goes, he goes. But that's not my concern because I know we're going to make the fair market offer. I know we have the best opportunity to develop you. And I know if you want to make this thing a career, this is where you need to be. You can go and throw for a lot of yards in a lot of places. But again, it's supposed to be about the next step. And I think Georgia provides that. And we can win along the way because you're going to have so much talent around you, not just in your room, but around you. So you can go anywhere else and find that high-powered offense and have to score 45 points a night. Or you can try to come down here, develop, and be a true pocket general, win, and learn the game, and have guys around you that you'll be successful with on another level as well. You know, we got guys in the NFL still playing together, a couple of different teams, multiple Bulldogs. So it's not a one-hit wonder situation. It's are you committed to playing in this red and black? So I hope he wants to be a dog. JV, you mentioned it. He did the full circle recruiting flip. Everybody just watch what Nico went through. Quarterbacks got to be a little bit more leery about how they handle and conduct their business. They also had to watch what Shador went through. So I think I don't think it's going to be as much hop, skipping, and jumping unless you're a junior or a senior looking to make a move. These young players really need to think about that initial decision because it should be your home. That's the school most committed to you.
Okay.
And real quick, Shorty. I mean, he making $2 million over 2 years right now without taking a snap at UGA. And we all know that anything happens, and when it does happen, it happens quickly. Injury is really you being a play away from being on the field, and that kind of changes your trajectory and your bank account quickly. It's not like UGA won't. It's not like they won't drop another bag on you now if you progress.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? So
we talked about that in the beginning of the show. After 2 years, trust me, it's renegotiation time, and that might be about around the time to come play. But I didn't mean to cut you out. Go ahead and finish your point because I'm gonna go ahead and.
No, that was pretty much it. I didn't catch the beginning part, so I just want to throw that out there. Hey, your bag can change in year 2 or 3.
Go ahead, Cal.
I'm just gonna say one quick thing before we get out of here. It's only a couple reasons why he would want to leave or why any quarterbacks transfer. Obviously, there's a money issue with it. Obviously, the next thing is that you're not good enough to start where you're at, or you're trying to go to a bigger program to where you can make a bigger name for yourself, a la Cam Ward. So the only reason I would say he leaves Athens, if he's just not good enough to take over the starting position, there's no other reason why he'd want to leave, because you're not going to find a better team. You're not going to find better coaching. And so the only reason you'd want to leave is to say, you know what, I can't start here. Let me go to Nebraska. Let me go somewhere else, Kentucky, wherever.
So great point. So what I would say is, and I'm gonna answer Kim Hurst's question. I think we answered it, and you may even know Kim. And so shout out to Sooner in Texas. Appreciate you popping in too. He's from another podcast as well. Appreciate you popping in. So I'm gonna say this right here, guys. This is how I feel about it. You lose them the same way you get them. And guess what?
Mm-hmm.
We got this kid and we didn't get him because of money. He could have went anywhere else and got tons more money. It wasn't necessary. It wasn't. I don't want to say it wasn't about the money, because it was money always came, but it wasn't all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It was more about being at the big time program, playing against the best competition and being developed. So when you don't get a kid because of money, meaning you didn't pay him 3, 4, 5 million to come, guess what? You ain't got to worry about losing him when somebody come with 3, 4, 5 million to take him away from you, because he never came for that reason in the first place.
Just like that.
Great
girl.
point.
Don't
So
say
yeah,
it. You can't do
so
it.
right. So that's where I'm at with. And to Cal's point, the only way I see this kid leaving is if he's not good enough by year 3 to start, and that won't be nobody's fault but his.
I agree.
Because we're
I
gonna
like
give
that,
you every
man.
opportunity. We're gonna give you every opportunity, especially by year 3, because Gunner will be gone. That means you got to beat out my boy Ryan. And like CA said, he ain't finna give you shit. So if you can't beat him out, it might be best for you, honestly, if you want to go play and get some film, to go somewhere else.
And hell,
That's
by
why
year
I
3,
think,
we're gonna have another 5-star coming in anyway.
but
Young
that was the
blood.
whole point
Great
of
point.
signing. That was the whole point of signing a 2-year deal with them, like we like to say in the NBA, get it with a 3rd-year option. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Hey,
So we'll
Thad,
see. Yeah.
that 2-year deal, that's how you secure your quarterback room, because that's the room you can't have the flux in. And we got to have some level of continuity, even if it's just 2 years. He can go after 2 years, because either he gonna go or he gonna stay. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I like the deal. I think he's definitely worth it, and I think we positioned ourselves properly. No complaints here.
And in the way you constructed that deal, it's almost like, especially at this point, nobody has leverage. Well, if anybody, we got the leverage because we the program. But I'm saying we gonna see where you at 2 years from now. Cause like we know it's a great chance. Like everybody said, you won't even play the first 2 years. So we gonna see where you at and see what you have done. And get what, you might not be worth $2 million come year 3. Let somebody else give you that. It just options are there, right?
For sure.
How much money do you think is in our quarterback room? About 5.
I was gonna say 5, but I'm gonna go ahead and say no more than 5. But I say 4 realistically.
Okay,
I
I ain't
agree.
mad at that.
What you think gonna getting at this point right now? 1.5.
Nah,
Maybe 1. You know, 7,
hold on, over 1
8,
year.
1.
We talking about over 1 year?
No, just 1 year. Yeah, 1 year. What you
I
think?
don't
Like he only got 1 year left. I mean, 2 years left,
Yeah.
right?
I think he might get
Yeah, he
about.
got 2. He got 2 years left.
I think he might be getting about 6.
So for the next 2 years, presumably 1.2 is what we're saying.
Oh, the next 2. Nah. I mean, I think it'll be bigger if we talking about 2 years. I'm just talking about for this particular year, 1 year, because if he's coming back the next year, it's a great chance that his NIL evaluation will be higher the next year.
And then Ryan, what y'all think he pulling in?
250 a half, somewhere in there. I mean,
Yeah.
he was a high recruit. Now we wanted him.
Mm-hmm.
Facts.
So
And
if he
then
got a
also
2-year deal,
got-
his might be 1 million total, 1.5, something like that.
And you got also know revenue share, I think, kicks in next year or the year after. So So the revenue share kicks in, then you still got to be able to acquire true NIL deals. So the money structure again will change in the next year or two. So
I can't keep up. It's just money flying everywhere.
yeah, yeah. So
I'm just salty. I'm just salty.
so
You
with
see,
that being,
I'm counting all these joker pockets.
he said there's two Ryans. What coach talking about? There's two Ryans. Oh, he's talking
Ryan
about Ryan from
Montgomery. We just signed
Nebraska.
Ryan Montgomery this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie, we ain't talking about him. Let's just go and get that out the way.
Yeah, we not at all.
Yeah.
He
But
done
good
forgot,
kid, though.
man. I'm gonna say he gonna be the first guy to get into the portal. But
Golly.
I know I
Hey,
ain't shit.
hey,
I ain't
hey,
shit.
you know what? You called the early odds on some real bet. Hey, look, some gonna give.
Hey,
One of those three.
but real talk, man. Just look how the game don't change though. Real talk, real shit, man. You get fucking $2 million, and they don't even expect you to start.
Hold the clipboard. We can't re-recruit the position. That's what I'm saying. Kirby can't have that stress. He gotta have a guy that's been through at least 2 springs on the bench. Ain't but a whole lot of ways to guarantee that. And that greenbacks.
Yeah.
That bought a lot of St. Ives back in the day.
Yeah, the
What
game
you
don't
talking about?
change, man. I just
Ooh,
think that was
deuce.
smart on Kirby and the kids camp. Like we talk about camps all the time, and we talked about Rashada. Now we talking about two different things. I'm not comparing them, but I'm using them definitely as examples. And we talk about camps. Like I think they were just very smart on that kids camp to be able to come to that happy medium with the university on that particular contract. Like I think that speaks a lot, and we may be. I'm gonna be honest with you. I can only speak about us. We may be setting a new trend, especially
That might be what won the recruiting battle. That might have been the difference. The structure of the deal. Because you more apt to stay that second year when it's backloaded, and it's only 2 years, which also means you still a hot commodity after year 2.
Right. All that,
so,
yeah. Because it's more NFL structure. Like, no, I think about it like this
it's position
like,
cap. That's what exactly. That's all I was saying. They capping by position.
Okay. All right, guys. Well, we done been on the hour, man. If anybody got anything else to add before we leave?
Man, we'll do this all night, man.
Okay. So before that goes, guys, before I leave, I want to give each one of you guys an opportunity to let everybody know where they can find you, or if you got anything going on my small platform. I just wanted to be known. We'll start out with Cal, where they can find you, what you got going on.
Shit, y'all can find me on Just My Damn Opinion and Respect the Hedges.
CA.
That's it. I tell you what, we're gonna get Cal to cut them lights on. I'm in the same spot. Just My Damn Opinion and Respect the Hedges, baby. Come see me.
Talk about where we can find them, we can't even see.
It's nighttime. About to get into some nighttime activities.
My boy Tailgate King JB, man, where they can find you.
Hey man, I'm always gonna show up, man, when I'm able to. I'm Just My Damn Opinion and Respect the Hedges. And man, hey man, keep your eyes out for these activities, these tailgates, these events going down, man, during the season, because we approaching fast and we got shit going on. We're gonna be putting it together, man. We got a hellacious schedule in Athens, motherfucking Georgia this year, boy. And we're gonna be down there getting it in. So y'all look out for us. Look out for us with CA and the Bulldawg Bourbon Club over there, the mayor, bringing it home.
That's why I let my guy go last. I know he was gonna have some shit. He always working. That's why I let him go last. I knew he was gonna have some shit. With that being said, man, Just My Damn Opinion, man. I appreciate all my homies coming in, tapping in, man. I had a great time, man. Great information. All you guys are very knowledgeable on what you guys do. Sooner in Texas, Kim Hurst, Coach I, E-Raw, everybody in the comments, man. We appreciate y'all chime. We say CA Maya. Okay, CA, you got to admire Sooner in Texas. Shout out. I just said Sooner in Texas. Go ahead.
There we go, Sooner. I ain't mad with you.
Yeah, man. With that being said, man, I honestly don't have no schedule on Just My Damn Opinion, but man, subscribe to the channel, man. You'll definitely get that notification, man. So hit that bell and all that good shit. We up out of here, man.
Cheers. Go Dogs.
Holla.